Alright, so we have an interesting matchup here. So it's Mateusz Gamrot versus Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens, his first fight back at 155. He fought 150 lightweight, quite a while ago. He's coming back, having trouble with the weight as he's getting older. So yeah, fair enough. Alright, so we'll break down the strike end of these two. So both these guys like to fight off the front foot, and they both are able to obtain the front foot with, different means and different threats. For Gamrot, it's the threat of the takedown, which is usually enough to keep the opponent backing up. And for Jeremy Stephens, it's the threat of the power, which is usually enough to get his opponent to back up. What I've seen from Jeremy when he faces wrestlers is he likes the stiff jab and the low calf kick. Gamrot, he's pretty easy to break down for me in the stand-up. He likes to use a lot of feints. He likes to use a lot of level change feints, which is, for the most part, what feint he is using. Everything is generally coming from down the pipe. It's the 1-2 or the just the straight right or the jab, the step-in jab. And he dips quite a bit when he is throwing the jab and when he does throw the two. So I think he's quite easy to read on the feet. And, it is a little bit dangerous when you got a power puncher like Jeremy Stephens who, might get the timing. He has very good intercepting straight knees, intercepting uppercuts when the opponent's dipping. He's got heavy uppercuts, heavy straight rights. It's just dangerous, when you get that predictable against a power puncher. And I sense, Gamrot's a little bit uncomfortable on the feet. Like, when he gets hit good, he freezes momentarily. He bites pretty hard on feints as well. I think he's a little bit uncomfortable on the feet, honestly. But, yeah. And Jeremy Stephens, he's got that killer instinct. And he does know when his opponents are hurt or when they're, a little bit uncomfortable, in situations. So, if Gamrot does show any weakness on the feet, I think Jeremy Stephens is going to look for the kill. And, he generally looks to tee off when his opponents are just covering up on the back foot. And that's what Gamrot does sometimes. So he does, need to watch out for that. Needs to get a bit of respect with the hands first, or else Jeremy Stephens is going to try and walk him down and, try and land his shots and just try to force the takedown entries from Gamrot instead of letting Gamrot set up his own takedown entries. But Jeremy Stephens, he's had trouble with fighters with very good movement or footwork in the past, like Moisés, Zabit, really frustrated him with the movement. If you've got good footwork, you can basically beat someone like Jeremy Stephens. But, Gamrot did show good footwork in the Holtzman fight, and I'd imagine he's going to look to do the same thing here. That kind of sets up his takedown entries as well, which gets opponents to walk on to his takedown entries, which I think he's going to look to do here with the aggressive Jeremy Stephens and how he likes to fight generally. Yeah, as I said before, he doesn't mix up a whole lot on the feet, but what he does do that's quite nice is he mixes in the takedown fakes with his striking. So that way he's not getting predictable with his deep level changes and also just reaching down low. So if every level change just meant he was shooting for a takedown, then opponents would be able to get a read of it and then be able to work from there. But he's been mixing it up a lot lately. He's been faking the shot, going up top with strikes, and that landed up quite a bit, and that was probably his best offense in the Scott Holtzman fight. At distance, his go-to takedown is to shoot quite low for the single leg, and then finish from there. Reactive double as well, that's when he's getting opponents to walk onto his takedowns. In the clinch or just in close, he likes to turn the corner, get the body lock, look for the outside leg trip. The guy's a good wrestler. Jeremy Stephens, he does have a good sprawl, good initial scramble, and good takedown defense in general. But if you get him flat on his back and, you control the initial scramble, we have seen him be controlled for long periods of time, after that. And Gamrot, what he does do is he really focuses on controlling the post leg after he finishes his low single and his reactive double. So he's trying to control the legs. He doesn't just forget about the legs straight away. He, hangs on to them still. And that takes away the posts of his opponent and makes it, very hard for them to get back to their feet immediately. Jeremy Stephens, even though he has lost a few fights, by control and being controlled by his opponent, he does have good submission defense, and I can't remember the last time he's been subbed, but I think it's been a while. How these guys win fights, so for Jeremy Stephens, he's got considerable power in both hands, plus that killer instinct that we talked about before. Good chin, good takedown defense. For Gamrot, great entries on his takedowns, nice chain wrestling, good takedown defense, good cardio. Good cardio for both as well. But yeah, how these guys lose fights. So for Jeremy Stephens, it's the striking tendencies, which we discussed already. Past to victory for Jeremy Stephens, looks to feint a lot, forward pressure. He bites on feints. Also, he backs up, quite easily. I don't think he likes being hit that much. So if you put the pressure on him, just, you might be able to break there. Uppercuts, he jabs the body a lot. He dips a lot. You can potentially catch him when he's shooting for a takedown as well. Uppercuts, I think that's the move here. Scott Holtzman was trying those as well, but he was loading up a little bit too much, and he just didn't have the timing down pat, and the speed just wasn't there for Holtzman anymore. The guy's like 38 now or whatever. Low calf kicks when he's level change feinting. He's going to be super heavy on that lead leg when he is level change feinting, and he does keep quite heavy on that lead leg because he's always looking for the takedown entries. But yeah, for Gamrot, look for lots of footwork. We talked about the struggles of Jeremy Stephens with fighters with good footwork, so take advantage of that. Look to, if he's going to be leg kicking you every time you level change, so to counteract that, look to just shoot over it. Shoot over the leg kick, basically. Don't let him just kick your front leg, just shoot. Just a blast double over that leg kick. Also, just get some respect with your hands first. Try and push him back a little bit. Just get some respect with your hands first before just, level changing immediately. But, yeah, get him down to the mat, basically. And if, he's being a bit of a nuisance and he keeps getting back to his feet, just look to control him from the body lock position and just kind of bully him from there. For Jeremy Stephens, I hope you've been practicing those low single escapes because, yeah, basically, that's his go-to takedown, and that's what he's going to be looking for here, I imagine, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, don't accept bottom position, just keep trying to get back to your feet. Alright, how I see the fight going. Jeremy Stephens, his record, it screams gatekeeper, it screams journeyman, but, which is fair, fair enough. I think he's got a minus 500 record in the UFC. But yeah, it is what it is. But he's probably one of the best gatekeepers in the UFC right now. He is getting up there in age, but he's a hard fight. Like, he's tough to look good against. This is quite a similar matchup to the Holtzman fight for Gamrot. Like, we saw how he handled that test. Passed with flying colours, of course. But aside from the beautiful straight right that he landed, he still showed a lot of the same tendencies which have got him trouble in the past. And I still felt like he was seeming a little bit uncomfortable. He's getting more comfortable on the feet from what I've seen, just eyeballing it, but he still seems a little bit uncomfortable there. I still stand by my assessment that his stand-up is quite basic. He's quite stiff on the feet. He doesn't mix it up a whole lot with his striking. I don't think he's going to try and stand with Stephens for too long, and I think that would be smart. The southpaw versus orthodox stance, I think that favours Gamrot, because like Jeremy Stephens, his lead leg is going to be in close proximity basically at all times, plus Jeremy's aggressive style. He's going to walk onto a lot of takedown shots from Gamrot, a lot of single leg attempts. I think Jeremy Stephens, his takedown defense is better than Scott Holtzman's, and Gamrot struggled to get Holtzman down or keep him down for meaningful periods of time, but I think Holtzman has a better get-up game than Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens' get-ups are not bad, but they're not on the level of Holtzman's. That guy's really hard to hold down. But Stephens, he has to be ready to defend the shots all night. Gamrot's not going to stop shooting. I'm feeling a competitive decision, going Gamrot's way, similar to Stephens Edgar, Stephens Bermudez, round 2 of Stephens Zabit, where, he just kind of defends the majority of the takedowns. He's never in any real danger, but he kind of just loses on control time and not being able to get any of his own offense off, and I think that's kind of how it's going to play out here. I'm just not really that high on Gamrot, honestly. I know a lot of people are. I think the money line is mostly based on people looking quantitatively at his record, which is stellar on paper. 18-1 in MMA, that's obviously worthy of respect. That's a very impressive record, but just watching him on tape, he's a little underwhelming for me, honestly. But yeah, we'll have a look at the betting lines. Alrighty, so if you guys could like the video, that'd be great. Helps out a lot, helps the algorithm, helps get the channel in the search bars and all that kind of stuff. So, that'd be greatly appreciated. Cheers for that. So, prediction is Gamrot by decision. I think the scenario that I talked about just before, like 30 seconds ago, I think that plays out a lot of the time. But I do think the line's a little bit wide. I do think Stephens at plus 150 or $2.50 is value. I think it's quite a close fight. 60% in favor of Gamrot. But yeah, I think there's a bit of value on Stephens at the moment. I wouldn't go big because of the age of Jeremy Stephens and the stage that he's at in his career, but you know, I think there's a little bit of value. Also, Gamrot decision, which is way too wide. You know, $3.45. I think they're overreacting a little bit to that knockout of Gamrot. You know, he's not a power puncher. He's not a power guy. So I don't. That was an anomaly in my opinion. But yeah, I really can't see how he finishes Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens been stopped like twice in 9 years or something like that, and he's been facing solid competition, and the only time he's been stopped was from that, you know, perfectly timed Qatar elbow and like that perfect Jose Aldo body shot. So I really can't. I have no idea what that line's about, but I do think Gamrot by decision is the bet if you do like Gamrot. Fight goes the distance, I think is value as well. I'm looking at Jeremy Stephens money line, Gamrot decision, and go on the distance. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Gamrot inside the distance at $2.30. That's yucky.